So if we look at the other conference, we got a pretty juicy matchup of some pretty big arms. We're talking Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes,
Ja.
Stephon Diggs versus Tyreek Hill, the
Mhm.
Kansas City Chiefs versus the Buffalo Bills, the established champion, the ascending contender to their throne. Who you got in this one, Bill?
This one's actually a very tough one for me. Very tough
Mm.
one. If
He's got no one to be biased against. That's why it's tough.
has nothing to do with nothing about that. It has more to do with Patrick Mahomes' health. It has all to do with Patrick Mahomes' health.
Of
As far
course.
as we know, I think he did practice on Wednesday. So
Yes, he did.
if he's good, even as good as he was, like even although he was kind of limping, kind of limping through the previous game, even if he's to that level, we saw what that offense is. When he's on the field, that offense is absolutely unstoppable. Uh, the Cleveland Browns could not do it absolutely anything with Patrick Mahomes on the field. They just went up and down the field like there was literally no one defending. Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy, and you have Patrick Mahomes at the quarterback. That combination is absolutely deadly on offense, and they have weapons everywhere you look. It's not one of those teams where they're heavily on wide receivers or they're really good running game. It's really all about the health on the Kansas City Chiefs side, Patrick Mahomes' health, and also their running back Hilaire. If he's
Mm.
questionable for this game, we'll see if he goes or not. If he goes and Patrick Mahomes is to his level as he was kind of limbering through the first half, a little bit of the third quarter, like in the previous game versus the Browns, I think Kansas City's Chiefs win this quite this. I wouldn't say decisively. They win this quite easily. I wouldn't say it would be a bit
Ooh.
like we saw what happened. Like you can say that defense has always comes up huge whenever they're needed. We saw what they did last week. Browns like to run the ball. We saw them run it up throat of Steelers. Or probably I think they were the best rush defense after the Tampa Bay Buccaneers their last season. Yes, its previous season, and they ran all over them. Then they faced the Chiefs, and they kind of neutralized both Hunt and Nick Chubb. So I think that's kind of their thing, calling card. They kind of just they're solid. They're not like spectacular in any way. They'll do their job. They'll never be the ones that were like previously where the Chiefs defense was something like worst in NFL history or at the bottom of the league. They're somewhere towards the top half of the league, and they just get the job done. And on the other end, as I mentioned previously, Patrick Mahomes, if he's healthy, that combination with Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid's absolutely deadly. They're just going to go up and down that defense's Buffalo's defense, and Philip Rivers kind of carved that defense up, but that's largely due to that offensive line, as we saw previously. There was constant pressure on Lamar Jackson, even with his loose ability. He wasn't able to, he wasn't able to lose, and he was sacked quite a few times, and he threw that terrible pick in the red zone. I don't think they're really going to get to Patrick Mahomes like that. He's the best quarterback against the blitz, so you can't really blitz him. And he's not going to get frazzled like Lamar in any way. He's going to absolutely carve him apart, similar to what Philip Rivers did, but at a much grander level. And then I don't really think I think on the other side, Buffalo will kind of keep bay at them, kind of keep it close. But at the end, it will be a quite easy win for Kansas City Chiefs.
But let me tell you what's going on in this game right here. It's interesting that you pick it you pick the coaching advantage here for Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy, and I would absolutely agree with that. Everything that you just said makes perfect sense, and in a vacuum, I can't argue with. But let me tell you something. Football is a little bit more than X's and O's, my friends. I think the Kansas City Chiefs are the favorites in this game, as they should be. I think Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy, who, by the way, I thought was a prime candidate for the Philadelphia coaching job. Instead, they went with Soriani, quote unquote, relatively unknown coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, Patrick Mahomes, those three guys definitely move the wheels and can shift balance in a game at any given moment, especially when you give them the explosive playmakers that Patrick Mahomes has.
Yeah.
I think whether or not Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to make a big difference. We know Clyde Edwards-Helaire did his thing against Buffalo back when they played also in Week 6. But I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire also plays an important part in the passing game, especially in those sneaky, crucial plays, maybe where it's 3rd and 7, 3rd and 5, and you have Edwards-Helaire swing out to the flat, and he can either make a guy miss, run through a guy, and pick up the first down. So he's always sneaky good in those crucial plays that don't seem that crucial at the moment. With all that said, though, I actually have the Buffalo Bills winning a high-scoring affair on the road against the Kansas City Chiefs. I think at this point, Josh Allen has been ascending the entire year. This has been the coming out party, per se, of Josh Allen. And I think
all about your ego. This is all about your ego. You just want to keep picking against the Kansas City Chiefs. It has nothing to do with the Buffalo Bills. You didn't believe them against them with the Ravens, and they
I didn't. You know why? Because for the same reasons why I'm thinking that maybe Kansas City doesn't absolutely win this game, because I saw what Lamar did against Tennessee. I saw how the emotional momentum had swung to Baltimore's favor in comparison to, for example, when Buffalo barely got by in Indianapolis. We saw Josh Allen ascending all year. I think this might be his coup d'etat. He might not win the Super Bowl, or he might not be able to, but if he beats Patrick Mahomes in Arrowhead, Josh Allen establishes himself as one of the elite quarterbacks in this game, bar none. And I actually think he has the talent and the surrounding talent to do it. We were talking about Devontae Adams in the other matchup, in the other conference. And I said, he's the number one receiver. He's the best receiver in the league. And I put it in air quotes because I think right now the receiver who's playing the best is actually Stephon Diggs.
Oh, I agree with that. I told you last week, I think he's the best wide receiver in the game.
Absolutely. And I said the week before the Bills actually faced the Colts that I was starting to believe in Josh Allen, that they had been ascending this whole year, that he has this kind of ho-hum personality where he stays grounded. He doesn't get too high on the highs and he doesn't get too low on the lows. And I think that's what you need to be successful in the NFL, especially at a crucial position like quarterback, especially when you're facing insurmountable odds, when you're playing what people are deeming to be the best offense ever put together in the NFL in their stadium with a trip to go to the Super Bowl with possibly the best quarterback in the league right now. Obviously, it all depends on their health.
Not possibly the best quarterback in the league, period.
Sure. The best quarterback in the league, period.
Good.
It doesn't really matter, though, because the best quarterback doesn't always win. Anyways, I make my point saying that Buffalo and Josh Allen, who embodies that personality, has that ho-hum attitude, doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. And he doesn't really seem to listen to the outside noise. He's more aloof. So to him, I don't think it really matters to him how accomplished Patrick Mahomes is. I think he knows he's capable of putting up 30 plus on that Kansas City's defense. And I think it's actually going to come down to whether or not it might come down to who has the ball last. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes' health is going to play a huge factor. Even if he's still hampered by that turf toe or that toe injury, whatever it is, I think that might be enough to derail the Kansas City offense, not completely, not substantially, not even fractionally, but just enough to give enough of a window to Josh Allen in that Buffalo offense to put some points up on the board and end up squeaking out with a W.
So what I'm hearing is you're betting more on the Kansas City Chiefs' lack of health on their side, and it's less because you actually believe in the Buffalo Bills.
Yes and no. Obviously, as you said, I think Patrick Mahomes' health is the unquestionable biggest question mark in this game, and that can swing momentum completely from one side to the other. It can give one team a certain advantage versus if he doesn't play, giving the other team almost an insurmountable advantage. But I actually think that, like I said, Josh Allen is aloof enough and he's confident enough in himself. I think the success that they've had up to this point can really factor into the mind games here. The other tie-in that not a lot of people are talking about is the fact that Sean McDermott actually used to coach under Andy Reid. I also think that even though Patrick Mahomes is not a turnover-prone quarterback, that doesn't mean that there aren't turnovers to be had. And I actually don't believe enough in the Chiefs' defense that they can hang with the Bills' offense to where Buffalo might not be able to put up enough points to overcome the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay.
So
On that note, actually, who do you think has a better defense, Buffalo or Kansas City?
Well, I don't have a lot of confidence in the Buffalo Bills defense anyways, but I think that almost comes out in the wash because we've seen Patrick Mahomes dice up the absolutely best defenses or top defenses in the league anyways. So I think great offense beats great defense. And obviously that's going to swing in favor of the Chiefs, depending on, of course, who they have on the field playing. But I think that will swing obviously in the favor of the Chiefs. But on the flip side, when you have the Kansas City defense versus the Bills offense, I think also the Bills offense, like I said, great offense beats great defense. I think the Bills offense is strong enough to put up points on the Kansas City defense, which I don't have as much trust in as you do.
All right.
So I'm going to come out and say I have another upset in this one. I have the Buffalo Bills winning somewhere in the 30s. I almost want to say 38-35, but it could also be on maybe the lower end of the 30s, maybe 35-31, something along those lines. 34-31.
You're picking another upset week, eh? Another upset week.
Well, there's only 2 games this week. I think I obviously have to do better for myself than last week. But
wow.
I think the Tampa Bay pick, I feel good about. The Buffalo Bills pick, there's obviously a lot more reason to go with Patrick Mahomes. But like I said at the beginning, football isn't always about just X's and O's. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback, the better playmaker, and they do have the better playmakers throughout that offense. But look for Josh Allen and the Bills to ride that hot streak, ride their emotional momentum all the way to the Super Bowl. Thanks so much, you guys, for tuning into the Bill and Pablo Show. It's been your boy Pablo. That's my boy Bill. Catch us here on the next episode. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And I'll see you then. Peace.